pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justin, would you lead us in prayer?
Amen. Let's bow. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. Thank you for the beautiful weather we've been getting and all the rain we've been getting recently. Lord, I just ask that as we go into our meeting tonight that we'll conduct business in a way that brings you glory and is in the best interest of our constituents. It's in your holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, did everybody get a chance to look over the minutes from the last meeting?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second to approve the minutes from the last meeting. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, I'm going to call on Terry Smith to give us a report on the library.
Okay. For the first quarter of the new year, we had 360 people come from January to March. Got a little low, but I think the weather had a little to do with that. We were open 12 days in January, February 15 days, and 18 days in March. Children's programming had 86 participants out of 27 scheduled events. Storytime, craft, make and take, and after school fun. Total collections for this quarter were $58.40, and it's broken down right there in your handout. Summer reading program is on the fast track now. So we're getting ready for that. We've already had 2 kids pre-registered, and arrangements for the community building has been taken care of because on Tuesdays we need use of it for our performers and our planned performers. And the first performer is Big Papa Bubble, but we have a special bonus. Kona Ice is going to be here for the community to come get free ice, and it's kind of like a fancy snow cone. And let's see. Storytime and Make and Take crafts will be on Thursday as usual for our thing. I've already handed out 300 flyers through Southside V Branch, sent those out. More flyers will be placed around the community. Our summer registration day is May 27th. It'll be from 10:30 a.m. to 4:30. They can come and register on that day. And any other day if they're out of town or something that day. And also included with your report is a calendar and a copy of the newsletter that we're going to be using this summer. And for the Damascus 4th of July celebration, we're working on that. Jeff Burgess, the president of Friends of the Library, is going to be there to help me and visit with the community as well. We're going to be making something like this for the kids, a little sun catcher.
Cool.
And we'll have information about Imagination Library, 1,000 books before kindergarten, and Friends of the Library for the community to learn more about those programs that we have to offer for them. So,
Been a busy lady.
yes, it comes and goes. I had one little girl come today, and she was enamored with my big giant volcano on the table that I'm making. So the theme is Unearth a Story, which involves paleontology and dinosaurs and all that kind of stuff. So the library's starting to look like something out of Jurassic Park without the rawr, you know. Our dinosaurs are cute and cartoon-like. So, but anyway, any questions regarding your library? Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for your report. Okay, any public comments on anything? Okay, fire department.
We moved brush trucks to behind City Hall. We did that last night, our fire meeting. It kind of been slow, and then like whatever day, yesterday or Sunday, I had like 4 calls in a row. 3 down 285. But so medical's kind of busy a little bit, but I think everything's going pretty good. You got anything to add, Tran?
Any questions for fire department? Okay. Bo's not here yet, so we'll go to police.
Okay, This month, obviously you can see up there, my activity was 158, a list included. Animal calls, assisting agency extra patrols, information only, law and public services, medical alarms, motorist assist, motor vehicle accident, reports, property checks, public service, which means talking and people to in the, out in the public, obviously. If they have a question, they wanna, you see a police, they wanna ask a question, then I answer them. Suspicious person, transports, traffic stops, warrant service fees, and welfare checks, which has 158 is on that. That's what I've done. I think it's included in y'all's specs as well. I got my oil changed and brakes put on the little vehicle, which I talked to the mayor about, which I didn't do it because I wanted to talk to him. My CV axles are gonna have to be replaced. And that's just wear and tear on the vehicle being a front wheel drive car. I mean, it's always spinning, so it's like a 4-wheel drive. And it just keeps going. So I've got that. I've not got the CV axles. I've been out of the office last week, working on some stuff. I think I finally got it just almost wrapped up. And then maybe I'll be able to talk about it the next time. However, nothing going on outside of the vehicle or in the department that y'all don't know about.
We talked previously about starting to look at new vehicles. Now Conway's going to a lease program through Enterprise, so that might be something.
I've also talked to Task Force, and it was made mention that they're fixing to do the same thing. They just play a flat rate, and whenever the mileage restriction or whatever the case may be done, then you just swap them out. Only issue with that is having to pay somebody to reinstall the lights and sirens into that. Because we don't have anybody that can just do that. I know that the last time that we talked, Mayor asked me to get a couple of different quotes, so I called from over at Red River, over in Hebert, and they can order me, say, a Durango, and it'll be a base model, police, vehicle, but they can also mount and install all the lights, sirens, stuff like that, and instead of paying the sales tax on the lights and for the labor and stuff, they do it, and say if the vehicle's $42,000 and which my vehicle is not, so I'm just throwing a rough estimate out there, but say if it's $10,000 worth of lights, vehicle's gonna be $52,000. And that's straight out the door. The only thing we do is drop our radios in, we're gone. They install, from what I was underneath the impression of, and I had sent that to the mayor, it's radars, lights, sirens, everything. And everything is through a warranty through them. So if anything goes down, anything goes on from that time, from bumper to bumper or terrain, however it goes, all gets sent straight back to them, and they fix it.
Looks like they've gone down a little bit too this year.
I've not looked at them. I got a quote on some the other day, but they were 1-ton Dodges, so I was like, no, we don't need all that.
State contract, the Durangos have gone down to 39,
Oh, that's good.
and then
Is that for the V6, I'm assuming? It doesn't say.
police pursuit vehicle,
It's okay.
and then like a Dodge Ram's at 39.8,
Mm-hmm.
40 grand.
Yeah, the only issue that I've heard with the trucks is the fact of, of course, whenever I was with the county, and if you try to turn around on somebody, it takes 5 lanes of traffic to turn them around. And then there were some of them, and their brakes and stuff like that. I'm not having any issues with mine, but it's not a Dodge or anything. Not knocking them, but I'm not had any of that issues. And my vehicle right now has 63,000, and I know that for a fact. My vehicle's not hurt. I understand we need to get another vehicle, and we can still shop around, but my vehicle's not. It's not really hurt. It's all highway miles, so it's not like it's getting beat up on gravel roads or stuck in mud. The worst thing we had was snow.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But yes, I have looked into them. But that's good they went down. And like they said, they could get me into anything that I needed over there as far as Durango. And some of them, some departments, like Conway, black and white, you know. Some of the counties are going with green. I think even Greenbrier's got like a green colored one, you know, and then they have white ones. The sheriff's office has got a black one. They just got it. City of Clinton's got a black one. And then they have the white Ford Explorers, and I think they have some white Durangos as well. And a lot of people are going to these Dodge Durangos, and I've rode them, and they're comfortable. Just kind of one of those people, and y'all all know I hate asking for money. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Just kind of the way that I look at it. But I will continue looking into it.
Just something we all need to keep on our mind and not let go by the wayside. Don't want you down and out.
Oh, I understand, and I appreciate that very much.
One person not paying attention from
Oh, yeah.
from not having anybody patrolling for a month, so.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Will? Okay. Bo?
As far as court goes, we had it last week and it was great. It was an easy session in terms of getting in and out of here, and we didn't have any trials. At the end of the day, we resolved everything, and very, very smooth. No complaints whatsoever. And then we'll just be back in here in July 13th. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's fine. We went smoothly. Nothing else to say about court.
I always like it when it goes smoothly.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm sitting here complaining, something wrong.
One thing I did forget to mention on my deal, I got a text from the SRO at Southside last week, and she said that Dr. Langford wanted me to participate in the appreciation that was done yesterday at Southside, so I was there, and I did receive a little certificate on just being an appreciation, and she did go in to say that, you know, anytime that the SRO needs my help, I'm always there. If she's gone in court, you know, I always make sure that I go in through there. Also, you know, Justin said, you know, hey, you know, we don't care if y'all come up here, this is great, you know, the more presents the better, and I totally agree, so I do make some rounds through there. Not as much anymore, because she is up there a lot more. She's getting her court cases finally dwindled down. But it was nice of them to reach out and tell me, you know, the appreciation was greatly appreciated. But that's all I have after that.
Okay. All right, street report.
We haven't had a chance to get the asphalt patching done yet, and I have another culvert that looks like we're gonna have to replace over on Carroll Circle. The whole bottom part's rusted out, so we'll have to cut the asphalt and dig all that out and replace that. So we'll kind of wait to fix the other streets till we get that one done. Another thing that, since Grant's been bush hogging, some of our streets have got trees and stuff overhanging over the right of way. We're gonna have to end up cutting some of that stuff down and back. We're gonna start trying to work on that in the next week or so after we get through reading meters and get that took care of. We had another leak we fixed over on Diamond Drive, and on July 28th, 29th, the night of, we had a lightning strike out on Batesville Mountain Road. It blew a 4-inch in two out there. So we had that started out before midnight and finished
Not
it.
July.
I mean,
April.
April. Oh, okay. Sorry. I got April, but I don't know why I said July. But anyway, April 29th. I was a couple of months early now. But anyway, April 29th. So, you know, that was a little bit of a mess, but not too bad. We got that repaired. Our drawdown at night has went down some, You know, we've been running in the 50 gallons per minute on the south end, and we're back down to about 43, and we're running about 25 up here on the north end. Still a little high. Still looking, see if we've got any, I mean, I know we've probably got other lakes. I mean, we know that. But we've not found, still don't think we've found the one we're really looking for that's causing that, and it may not just be one, it could be multiples. So we're still trying to see what we can come up with, and we'll see what happens after this next meter reading cycle and see if that one leak that we did fix, if that was part of our problem. We started working on the post flush hydrant on the end of Peavine Creek today. We got the new post hydrant set and got Quick Creek and stuff on it, waiting for it to set up, and tomorrow, the next day, we'll end up digging up, pull the old one off and put a new piece of pipe in between the old one and where we moved the new one to. We have to be able to change one out, we have to get the other one set, the newer one set, the same as it was the month before. But hopefully, sooner or later, we'll find where our major leak is.
Any question?
My driveway?
Yes, we gotta get back to your driveway. Our normal
I don't know.
valve box extensions don't fit them old, smaller valve boxes. So I've got to come up with a different ideal to bring that up level with the ground and cover it back up. Sorry.
Doc keeps threatening to fill it in. I told him, no, they gotta fix, there's some parts are needing to do, they have to do
I got
something.
some extensions in, but they will not work on it. So it's one of the older valve boxes put in back in
I've been fighting him off for 60 days.
1969, and the newer stuff's all a lot bigger, so it's not nothing that would be keep it from sinking. So we're trying to figure out something different to put over it.
How far of Bricky do we cover on our street? Do we go all the way around?
No, it goes down to going past Jackie's,
Carol's.
the next house.
You got Payne's and then.
Payne, that's it. Stops at Payne's.
Okay, I
So
didn't
they
know.
don't cover the curb?
No, it don't cover all the way around, and we stop.
Does it
Really
end at
stops
Payne's
before
there?
that.
Yeah, Payne's is the end of it.
Lula's house?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, there's some overgrowth there I hit with my bus, so.
Yeah, on this.
It's no closer to that curb near where the hay storage barn is. Yeah,
That's Fairfield County.
That'd be county. Indian County.
We'll mention it, so if they can have time to come.
not that I got a chainsaw.
And then, of course, the other end, Jack Hall, we just barely go down Jack Hall on Sickman. Right there where the old road cuts back, that they took out years ago.
Okay.
Anything else for Randy? Thank you, Randy.
Okay.
Okay, mayor report. Independence Day. You're up, Heather.
It says mayor.
I called on you, I delegate.
I have fireworks ordered. I need to check on them. He had told me a few weeks, so, he's asked me to pick everything up, like, at the beginning of June and not July, because he's a distributor and it gets busy, so since I've ordered them early, he wants us to come get them, so.
That Snuffy Lynn on Clint Lynn?
No,
What's somebody else?
I have a friend that I graduated high school with that actually, he owns a business that
Okay.
distributes to multiple states, and so I think actually he was willing to do we pay half, he pays half thing too, and since we're cutting out a middleman, we should get a better show for not much more money, so, we'll see. But they're gonna give us the tubes and he's gonna tell us what order to shoot everything, like they're doing basically everything for us we just gonna have to have people to light the fuses, and I'm not doing that, so I'm gonna need volunteer fire people, I guess, to do that. I do have, I talked to Missy about the band, so I think they're planning to play, so we've got that secured.
Okay.
I'll have to talk to them about the setup, so Randy will involve you in that and where we need to set up and what we need to do. I need to go talk to the library, but she's already planning to be there, so we're good there. I have had several people reach out with food trucks, so talking through that, and I think it would be best, I know we're not gonna start the event until 3, but I'm gonna offer, if it's okay, for them to set up at like 10 and advertise that they'll be at the water department for lunch too, so that they can make a whole day out of it, if possible. Are we okay with that? I hate to tell them you have to miss a lunch, because a lot of them won't be able to go set up somewhere and then move in an hour or two between. So anyway, the one that I did talk to last week said that would be really helpful if we could do that. So I don't feel like that'd be a major ask to have them set up there.
I don't see any issue with that. I mean, they got set up, well, if they set up early, it doesn't matter.
And some of the other booths that set up, they might decide they want to eat before.
Right, people there working around. Anyway.
Yep.
I did make like a registration sort of thing, so I'll probably send it over and have y'all put it on the Facebook page or something.
What about banners?
I've got them designed, I just need to get them ordered. So, I know that we have ordered them from somewhere in the past, but I need to make sure I've got the measurements right. Get a couple quotes just to make sure that we're getting whatever the best stuff we can get for the best price we can get it. We talked about doing the A-frames that they have already or something.
We got the A-frame from the Christmas parade.
So use
That we
the same frames.
Put them on top of those.
And then probably gonna do some like yard, just little yard kind of scattered about to try to get people here. I did talk to Bo about an insurance event policy. So Brian said that you guys said we're covered somehow with something. So I do want to talk through that. I think it couldn't hurt to have a policy that says, hey, our fireworks went askew and we burned somebody's house down and now we have $1 million worth of coverage to help them out. That I think that would be smart to have, especially if we're going to have people at the water department doing who knows what, playing on bouncies and all the things for hours. I feel like it would be a good investment, but if we don't need it, we don't need it.
Did you find a quote on that?
I did. There's a $1 million event, $3 million total for $500. I feel like that's not terrible.
No, I mean, I just, I don't know even how much coverage you feel is appropriate, in that
Well,
circumstance. It's kind of hard because, like you said, you've got, for the most part, a safe area, but if you start bringing fireworks into it, that's probably one of the reasons that policy is even higher. I mean, I don't know if you told them they're fireworks in case y'all.
I told them,
Yeah,
I
I
wanted to be sure it was covered, but like, it was 500 for $1 million with 2 and 506 for $1 million with 3, so I was like, I'll pay $6.
Yeah.
We are covered under municipal league
Okay,
for any accidents or anything, any event that we have.
so
It's
if we
covered
shoot
under-
a firework and it burns a house down or
We're
destroys
covered.
a car or whatever.
$500.
As long as none of us, the city, is
Yeah.
negligent,
Yes.
I mean, I'm just saying that would be the
Yeah.
scenario if there was literally someone who, engaged in some truly negligent act under the color of acting for the city. Like, that would really be where it would have to happen. Now, I'm not saying that, as we all know, anybody can and will get sued if the mood is right. So, I just can't say, with certainty that nothing would ever happen. Even if people walk away from there and you don't know about an injury,
Oh, right.
something could happen. But at least Muni League does have great coverage, and I don't know if they've ever had any circumstances where they had to use it. But no, we haven't. But I'd be curious to find out if any other towns have and had any problem with it. I can't imagine that they would. Municipal
We'll
leagues.
forward you a copy of.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, I'll look it over, but municipal leagues always got the right
Yeah, I mean, if you
idea.
think we're covered, then
I would just
that's
check
good.
with
I
the
just-
Sparks in the park
Yeah, well, and that's what.
guy, cause there's wind
Yeah,
in the crowd,
right.
and they got people last year, so.
Well, you never know when you're gonna get a gust of wind,
Yeah,
and all of a
Yep.
sudden you've got a fire, and so.
We get a fire in our field and we've got 50 cars in it.
Yeah, well, yeah,
With
that's what I'm
gas in
saying,
it.
like cars, we're
Yeah.
right there, I mean, we're still pretty close to the church, that's a
Yeah.
big building, I mean, there's just, I feel like we could always have more cover. It's better to be safe than sorry, but
I think
I'm just putting that out there, I did get quotes.
I think you kinda
If
go
we're covered,
through
we're
it,
covered, if not,
I think you kinda go through it this year. This is fairly new for y'all, isn't it, as far as the fireworks type of thing, or is that something that's been going on?
we've had fireworks every year.
I thought so, but I wasn't sure that it was, that y'all were doing anything new about the program that would lead to more
well, just more.
potential exposure, and other than the fact that more people will be there than before, but, I think that, you look at the municipal league policy, which I will, and if y'all want me to just give y'all a little bit of feedback on that to make sure we feel good.
That'd be good.
There's also a permit that we're required to have through the state, so Brian stumbled upon a post on Facebook the other day that one of his buddies at the emergency management shared, and I was like, oh, great, so I need to forward that to somebody. It's a form you have to print out, I assume they're not gonna say no, but, just to notify them we're having it, but it says, like, statewide, if you're gonna do any kind of fireworks show,
Must be approved by the
it
state
has to
fire
be,
marshal.
and then,
Just forward it to us and we'll,
yeah, I'll get the link. Cause I wasn't aware of that either. So, anyway,
I
making
wasn't either
progress.
until Adam shared something the other day. It's like, oh,
Oh, no, I did not mention the porta potties.
Pam, porta potties. We ordered them last year, didn't we? What, how many, 4?
We all, did we, yeah, we needed.
It was just three, yeah. It was only 2 or 3 of them, so we
So we need to order, go ahead and reserve some.
Oh, you haven't done that yet?
No.
Yeah.
okay, anything else?
Did you get them from us? Did you get them
Uh,
from Hannah?
I don't remember who it is, it was on my list, I sent them, so.
For the what? For what?
Were they from
Bonds,
Logan's? Yeah,
yeah, they were, I think they were brand new porta potties, it looked like it.
they're clean, they do good.
How long, did they say how long it would take to issue a policy like that you were talking about?
Yeah, they
Let's
do.
say if he looks at it, the next month we meet, we're like, hey, we gotta have it.
Septic.
Will it be issued, is it an instant guarantee, like instant issue?
But you need to.
Yeah, I think if we, like, I was thinking, we meet in
Oh, yeah,
June,
I ordered them.
Yeah,
and we decide we want it,
Yeah.
then you'd have time,
okay.
you'd have
I
time.
don't know, they've been going to Fort Chaffee.
I just wanted to get it out there, because I think it's something we need to consider. I mean, I was talking to my grandma about it, because she's always been in Dover City's always done the Ozark Memories Day, and they've started doing fireworks and stuff, and she said that was the first thing they got every year was an event policy. Just people are on your property doing who knows what, running around, acting a fool. One kid falls in a hole because there were holes, because people stepped in them last year, but the wrong one falls and gets hurt. And if we're covered under a different policy, that's great, but
I'll look at the limits on that too and see, what that is, cause that'll probably determine just about anything, But yeah, that $500, $600 for that couple, that's not bad, given what your potential exposure could be,
And with municipal league, the deductible and stuff on the vehicles and the buildings that we have, it may be that $500 might be, depending on what kind of,
having a claim.
what we'd have, what would be our deductible for
Yeah.
somebody falling or something too.
Well, and that's a big factor, but I also think that, it's probably worth looking at. And I think, Heather, your example of, talking about Dover or wherever is good, what other cities do and what cities give them in insurance if they're shooting fireworks. I mean, I'm like you, I think most of them probably do, but a lot of them you know, there's a lot of these fireworks shows that are basically outside of a city and not sponsored by the city government. And so, you know, they have them out in the county, as they say, and then there's no protection really, unless that, and other than, you know, having them. But I think with the city's municipal league coverage, it definitely provides a buffer that other places don't necessarily have. But yeah, Pam, if you'll forward me that policy, I'll look at it before next month for sure.
Right. Anything else for Heather? Okay, rule preservation discussion. We, closed up meeting last month. We were talking about that. It was decided that everybody needed to talk to their constituents, get a feel for what our people think, and bring it back to this meeting to discuss. So, the floor is open.
I don't think we should go at all. That would condemn half the property in Damascus.
But everybody's got stuff going on, so I haven't talked to one person that's been against it.
You guys need to voice your opinions here.
Well, so it was just like, you couldn't put it was 3 acres, wasn't it, or something? Yeah, so that's pretty, I mean, none of us want a subdivision in our neighborhood.
Right, but that's condemning half the lots in Damascus. I make a motion, we trash it.
What do you think? Have you had any, like, I mean, my son's not gonna build on my land, so I don't have to worry about him. But I mean, are your kids gonna come back and wanna build on your house or your land, or?
I got their own place.
I know, I didn't know, I mean. But, okay, so, and my thing too, we were talking, and Heather was mentioning about, selling this lot, and he's not putting in a subdivision, but then he's subdividing it and selling 1 acre lots. But are we making, and I know we can't do a subdivision, they have to come to us for the water. But if he makes 10 lots, is that the same, what are we gonna do about that?
Still has to go through our water advisory board and then to us.
Okay, well, that's what I was wondering, if that's still.
The problem with that is anybody telling that person that's buying that 2 acre lot that
You may
they
not
don't
get
have
water.
permission for water?
Yeah.
Because now you've got land and it hasn't been through the advisory board as a whole, and we may or may not have approved it if it's gone through the whole to be able to say we can cover that many. And now somebody's bought it without the ability to have water. I don't know.
And it's my opinion that this should not be a long-standing ordinance. This ordinance should be repealed as soon as we get zoning done. Our problem is, how long is it gonna take us to get zoning done? And can we get it done before existing properties go on the market with no rules?
Regardless of lot size, if that lot already has water established on it, there is nothing that goes through any board for us to approve.
Right.
It's already there. They can come in and build whatever they want to on it.
I think that's the point.
They've already got water, they've already
Absolutely.
got, there had been an existing house there previously. They can do whatever they want to.
But if they want another connection, it's a different story.
Right, if they want a new connection, that's different. But even then, the place like she's talking about that they bought and there wasn't water there, that's outside of our city limits. We still don't have any control over it, other than telling them that there's not a water line there. You should have asked that at the beginning. I'm sorry your guy didn't tell you that, but
Yeah, it's happened.
that,
We
yeah,
have
that's
that,
happened.
yeah, we have that same scenario down
Yeah.
south right now. We've had several acres that have been sold to people that he told them that they could get water. Well, we don't have water availability to give them down there. We can't. And so we've told him the rules and regulations, if he's subdividing, that we require for our water. And he said, well, I just drill wells. Well, he hasn't done that either. So those people that bought from him are the ones that bought, I mean, they bought a piece of ground they can't do nothing with.
Is that Ricky Reynolds, Terry?
No,
Somebody else.
I can't remember his name. That's not the Reynolds group. But, I mean, it's a bad scenario, but so we don't have, ordinances wouldn't affect that down there anyhow.
Right.
It still has to go.
It's only within the city limits.
Yeah.
It's only for properties that have not already been split up.
I think our planning and zoning, commission will solve a lot of these issues if we can ever get it up and running and get people that will serve. I've talked to probably 10 people, about serving on a committee for this, and I've had zero interest. Nobody wants to commit.
They wanna gripe, but they don't wanna commit.
Exactly. And it's like you see how many people showed up for meetings. We don't get the feedback. We don't get, everybody that I've talked to about this is kind of like Gene said, up in arms about it. But nobody showed up to voice their opinion.
I think, just to interject here, I think that the planning and zoning component of this, y'all touched on the time and how long it would take. Putting it together and making it a part of the Damascus municipal government, that can be done in a matter of a meeting, seriously. But like you said, the logistical challenge is now we've created it, how do we populate it?
Mm-hmm.
And you also have to have some standards for how you populate it. Do you want to get somebody, because this is not going to be one of those deals where all of a sudden Damascus is divided into like precincts and things like that. As far as I know, you guys are all at large members, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as a result of that, you're not going to have some unwieldy thing to try to be out there to understand. It'll be about as simple a planning commission as there is, at least right now, because the town limits are what they are. As like Ron said, there's a lot of property that's already committed a certain way, or for usage. The biggest drawback to all this is that neither Faulkner nor Van Buren have ever really put any serious thought into code enforcement on a county level.
Right.
And I get it, it's your resources are limited for that. But I really do think that, that's probably the biggest challenge right now is like finding those people that want to help with the understanding too for these folks that, yeah, you're not going to get paid, but also when you recommend something, everybody up here may shoot it down. So it's hard to get people to serve on a commission. In Conway, it's for, they don't pay either. And they get into fights all the time about stuff. And then the council tells them we don't agree with you anyway. So you don't want to make a mess of it, but I don't think that Damascus's mess is going to be all that big in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to making sure, like y'all said, it's pretty simple. If you can't get water, then you're right. You got a problem. And I don't know how rural preservation ordinance would affect water, issues and all that. Y'all know that better than me. But what I do know is that if the water board right now is kind of your only safeguard on something, it's not the best arrangement. There needs to be somebody who, and I say somebody, it can be, and your planning commission can be. I'll check with municipal league on this, but I think you can have as few as 3. But And now that's still 3 people you can't get right now, but it may be more enticing to people later if they understand that it's not some elected position, it's appointed. B, I don't think it's advisable to give anybody more than a 1-year term, and let them roll over if they want to. And then somebody says, I don't want to do another term. Okay, fine, I'll get one something new. But I understand that logistical challenge is what it is. It's like you got to get it all in place, and then you got to find the people to sit in the seats. But as far as to hopefully allay any concerns about how long it will truly take, you want to have some public hearings about establishing a planning commission. I think the result would be about what you see. I don't think a lot of people would fuss one way or the other about it. That's kind of the challenge I'll have is the input part of this and the feedback.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, it is, especially for towns of this size and even bigger that don't have that kind of planning in place, and unfortunately, I think a lot of places reacted too late to the problem. I don't think that's the issue here. I think there's definitely concern about somebody coming, buying up a bunch of ground, subdividing it, making little tiny shoebox lots out of something that the water can't even support potentially, so.
Well, and we've got roughly 10-acre lot right on 65, center point for our people coming through our town. None of us want that divided up into 100 tiny little lots with trailers on them or mobile home, RVs or that's the first thing people see when they come into town. We don't at North and 65. Across from the water department. And that's what, this would divide that into a maximum of 3 lots.
So it used to be the Payne property, I don't know what it is now.
That's fine.
That's Gary Hall.
Oh,
Yeah, Jerry Hall's triangle, so.
Yeah.
And you don't want commercial on the Payne side of it, because that's residential. But that's where we need a planning commission to zone that appropriately, and it shouldn't all be zoned one thing. It's fine being commercial along 65, but you've got to have a buffer and then buffer into residential area.
I think one thing the municipal league will do for you too is they'll help you with your mapping / if you want to draw off, if you want to, again, they're not there to tell you how to zone your town, so to speak, but they can definitely supply some recommendations too on, how many classifications do you need? This is not a place that's going to need R1, R2, R3. Let's call it R, and let's call it C, and let's call it agriculture A. It doesn't have to be a complex zoning ordinance either. And so that's another reason I think that it could be done fairly quickly is I don't think we would have to go into great detail on all these maps to try to figure it out. But you try to do this, say, in a couple of years, and it could be a problem. You never know what time will do.
Arkansas had the most people of any state move to it without anybody moving. So it's happening and it's gonna happen quickly. That's my 2 cents as a realtor. That's what I'm seeing every day. The influx of people coming in without anybody leaving, that means houses have to be built. And so they're moving very quickly out 65 towards us from Conway, Greenbrier, all over. It's coming this way, quicker. There's a little subdivision in Greenbrier. 2 years ago, it was a pasture, and I drove by the other day, and I don't know, there's probably 200 houses on this tiny little, the yards are maybe 0.1 acre lots. You can touch houses. And those are not, they're not like a Roush Coleman subdivision. It's 15, 20, 30 different builders, but they're on tiny little lots where,
That's
so it's
becoming
not
the
even-
norm.
Yeah.
everywhere and
But if we don't have water,
not what anybody around here wants.
We are gonna have trouble with those lots of parking. That could help us.
yes, that's,
And then
that's
we're
gonna be
also gonna have
very good.
trouble with
More housing.
supplying the water, that will help us as well, so. It's-
I think the more safeguards we have in place, like you were saying though, the better.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, you know, there's multiple ways you can go about it. You know, this ordinance is up for y'all's discussion and determination, and it's y'all's pleasure to do what you wish. When it comes to, you know, my thinking about how do we accelerate the zoning and planning process here, you know, again, that can be like a summer project, if you want to call it that, where we, you know, maybe have, probably not by June, obviously, but maybe in July, so it's August, we establish what a map at least would look like. We establish what we think, you know, the composition of the board should be. If we get all those little things in place, you know, for starters, everybody goes, well, you know, I'd like to see 5, 7, whatever. As far as I'm concerned, you start it and then you change it later if you have to. You know, if you decide the composition of the board needs to be 7 later and no fewer than that, because you got 5 and you got other people now interested in getting on it, well, you vote to increase it, the membership, you know. But you also don't put yourself in a position to hamstring yourself either. You say minimum of X, maximum of Y, you know, and establish it that way so you have that flexibility and wiggle room. They will tell you this, the last thing you want to have to do is go back and amend and update ordinances all the time. And that's a very good possibility with a planning and zoning ordinance, but the best part of that is that if you get it all right and in place on the front end, you'll have to do very little screw turning and tweaking after that. Whereas, you know, if Damascus doubles, triples in size and in population and starts to encompass more ground, now you've got 2 or 3 times the work to do at that point. So I guess my attitude is, let's get in while we're still this size and try to get some planning done.
Well, Gene did make a motion to scrap this idea of the ordinance. Do I hear a second on that?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can see both points, like I said, but, and I know both made a bunch of points too, and I think our water issue is gonna help with us a lot of it, because, I mean, if anybody buys a place that's not gonna perk and you can't get water, we're not gonna have to worry about it. We're not gonna have to worry about it. But, and I don't know, Jed, have you heard anything from anybody?
No, the 3 acres was the only thing I heard was, you know,
They thought that was too much.
that was a touch too much, is the only thing I'd
That's what
heard.
I heard.
And I think of places like I said, where I live, you know, my house isn't on 3 acres, but it's still a pretty good sized yard.
Yeah.
And to me, it's plenty of space. But it's like, where do you draw that line? Where do we say, hey, this is minimum amount? Because somebody may only be able to afford an acre of land, you know? Now, I don't want to do like she was talking about, where it's houses you can touch in between. Like, I personally, I wouldn't like that. I'm like Jackie, I see both sides of it. I see a need for it, but I also see a point of, like, I think once we tell people, hey, we're not gonna be able to get water, I think it's gonna fix it as well.
Well, also in the same token, if we don't set it now, it gets divided out, it's done. It's
But they can
divided.
put a house on it if they can't get water to it,
But
so,
And they've got to go back to a 6-inch, so.
yeah, so we're not gonna be able to build.
If it's a subdivision and not sold in individual lots to people.
Right.
They sell 10 acres and 1 acre lots to 10 other people, then they can get water at each lot, according to our current.
Right.
But what that at least requires them to do is survey it and plat it.
Survey and septic.
And
Yeah.
I mean, that's providing Garber comes back and says we can provide for that.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
We're within 30 days of probably knowing that.
Right, that's the big, yeah. Yeah, we don't have that definitive answer yet.
I have talked way too much, I'm sorry, but if, to me, that sounds reactive. And we could be proactive if there was a rule set in place before people started selling things off. And that way you're not gonna be having that problem. And if you come back in a month or 2 or 3 or 6 and say, never mind, hey, let's go ahead and let them do 1 acre, whatever, that, okay, it changes it, whatever, but there's nothing at the front end. There's not a guardrail. There's a hope that something prevents it in the back end, is what you guys have. So like, let's go ahead and let somebody invest in all of the surveys. Let's go ahead and let somebody invest in having it all tested in 1 acre lots. Let's go ahead and let somebody, and then you come back and you're like, oh, sorry, it didn't work out, so now we're gonna not have a plan, but maybe you could do 3 acres, see what you could target at. Like, if you had a rule that said, hey, it needs 3 acres before we'll consider doing water to it, or it needs 3 acres before, whatever up front, then they're only gonna invest the money to test the 1, 2, 3, whatever limit you set. Does that make sense? Like, the person actually trying to subdivide and sell the land, they'll have guardrails and not just be like, oh, I'm gonna spend all this money, survey out all these lots, figure out how I can plat out a neighborhood, and then hope it all perks like it should. That's a lot of wasted effort.
And money on that
As
part.
opposed to just saying up front, hey, sell it off in 3 acre lots. We've got a plan to make sure we can cover that many houses, whatever.
But do we have a plan that we
I
can
don't
cover
know,
those houses?
but
I
I
mean,
think
how
that's part of
many
the
houses can
plan.
we cover in Damascus right now? More. We can't hardly. We don't have the water for any. So it doesn't matter if it's 3 acre lot or a 1 acre lot. I don't think it's gonna matter
Well, and
at this point.
that was something I mentioned to the mayor at one point. I was like, the problem with any number
Yeah.
is it's arbitrary.
Right.
And you're gonna run into some, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think somebody's gonna come up there and file some federal suit for discrimination because they have 2 acres and they can't do anything with it, but the person next to them has 3. I mean, that's not what I mean by arbitrary. I think that you've got to still, though, come up with a reason for that number, or whatever number you get. I'm not saying, I'm not picking on 3, I'm picking on any number. You know, if you put a ½ acre or 10 acres, I'd still say, what's the reasoning behind that?
No water. We don't have enough water.
And that's fine for a discussion amongst us, but what's the problem if you go to the court and they ask that question? And again, that's why I'm here, is to beat that pain in the butt. So.
Just saying, we don't have enough water. I mean, it would be millions of dollars for us to update all of our system, and we don't have, I mean, I've still got a little line going out to my house that's been there since before half of you were born.
How's a landowner gonna know about this ordinance before they try to start surveying the stuff any different than the landowner knowing that they're not gonna be able to get water before?
Well,
we passed this
it's
ordinance. It's on the title company.
A zoning ordinance will get picked up by the title company.
Okay.
You know, and now that said, okay.
And a surveyor.
True, but the other thing too, you mentioned the water board at least being this sort of stopgap that's in place right now. I mean, there's nothing saying you can't record in the real estate records your water board policies so that they're out there and known, so that somebody who comes along and makes an offer, the title company does their title search and says, there's an ordinance out here, or, you know, there's a recorded document that the city of Damascus controls this, this, and this. And we won't underwrite the sale of this property unless that gets addressed one way or the other. So the title companies will have to wrestle with it for sure. But it would be better for them, just based on their history of using, you know, searching title, it would be better for them to have, you know, okay, it's a zoning ordinance, you know, it's zoned residential, therefore, yes, we can underwrite this because it's for the intended purpose. So yeah, they, you know, title companies, realtors reckon with all of that stuff all the time. So it would be there, invisible, but Justin, to answer your question, I mean, like I said, right now, nobody's gonna know the water policy unless they ask it.
Right. So that can be.
I mean, it could be, you know, like I say, you could make it public record, you could record it, then guess what happens? Every time you change anything about the water board's policy, you gotta go record it again. So it's, It's not clean and easy. I mean, I like to say that this could be done quickly and efficiently, but there's there's some moving parts to it for sure.
And then variances that come about.
And then you gotta have a method, and I think I talked to you guys last month about, y'all could just, have them come appeal to you for a variance. But one of the reasons that the planning commission exists is to be that filter for that, and that recommending body. And really all that does is gives you all as a council a little bit more, you're more solidified in your position that you take on any given proposal that goes before the commission. If you have a commission endorsement, then you're relying on that commission to make the decisions, and you never know if that's gonna happen. But you also, like I said, ultimately have the ruling on y'all is in y'all's court.
Well, Randy and Joe, you're our people, what do y'all think?
I can't say anything definitively without Garver or
Yeah,
engineering.
And so we don't know anything for another month and a half?
Until
So-
everything comes back.
This is just a bandit. It doesn't keep an existing 2-acre lot from being sold or built on.
This whole
just-
town is made up of small lots.
They're
The
already
whole
existing.
town.
They already exist, though. It's to keep a 100-acre lot from being divided into 500 lots, or a 10-acre lot from being divided into.
But there's no spots that big in the city
15.
limits of Damascus.
There is.
There's at least two.
There's at least 2.
Where?
There's a 10-acre lot right here,
Okay.
and then there's 70 acres on north,
Well, I've got 38 acres.
And Oak Tree.
It's not gonna be divided.
and then 10 acres
But
in
even
north
if
of Oak Tree.
but if you sold just a lot, that wouldn't be subdividing anyway.
But is
Right.
it inside the city?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's 70 acre.
Is that
Jerry Hall's place too?
Some of it's inside, well, we had,
Well, now, a lot of this land is not the city limits, it's the borders of the city, the borders of land. Well, mine's not completely all in
Right.
city limits,
But there's a 40-acre tract on the north
but this would condemn
of north.
half the town.
A north road? Where? A north road?
On north, yeah, north of, on Oak Tree, north of north of North.
North of Oak is not in the city limits.
There's a 40-acre tract there that is.
part of it,
It's just, there's a section.
city limits
Pull that
only
up.
goes
It's
so
40
far.
acres.
It only goes to
north.
the,
Right there. It's divided out already,
285 of them.
but there's a 40-acre tract
Yeah,
that is.
285, yeah.
Or 285.
And
Yeah,
then
285, yeah.
going off 285, and then that's
Yeah.
another
What,
80 acres there.
like 20 of it's in floodplain, so they
Yeah.
can't build on
So that's 130, 140 acres in question right now.
Pam, is there any way to pull that up on the TV?
That's what I'm trying to get, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that's what I'm.
she's trying to.
all right.
I'm trying to see.
Chili's looks good.
I like Hulu. Too smart TV, though. Get on, it's tough.
There's North Road and Oak Street.
Trans-American
Right
Highway.
there
Museum.
in that corner.
Trans-American Trail.
Right.
I've got Hunnix pulled up so we can kind of look at those plots. All right, fire station, that's these two
So like on
here.
property like mine,
This
it's
area
less than
here,
3 acres
that's-
right now. I know Grandpa Red, but let's
and
say,
it's,
when they get old, I need to move a mobile home in on my backyard with that ordinance stop.
Part of that, this
Yeah,
half
like, cause they had to do this.
is 30-something acres, 32 acres.
Let me read
This
it.
part right in here is 32 acres. Now whether it goes out, that probably some of that does go outside the city limits. I don't know. Well,
Is that the
no, that is in the city because it's highlighted different.
Right.
Different colors.
So that is in the city. And you got another 30 acres here.
That's a
That's
flood.
where they're
Mhm.
I'm sure.
Yeah, this part's flood zone.
Yeah, this
So
is
is it,
flood.
well, I'm sure there's a pond in this. Real small.
Our city flood is just this little branch over here on this side of the road. Just 100 feet where that branch is. It comes out from underneath 285 down through here. But I'm sure that's probably, unless they fill it. But like I said, that's 32, and this is about 30.
And the pond is roughly 5 acres, so it's still gonna be over 25 once you get away from that pond.
40 acres, actually.
Yeah.
It goes on further. And then right behind that is Steve Carroll's. Steve Carroll's has got, back there, he's got, well, yeah, well, part of it is inside the city. Because it's on that same fence line that when you're going east and west on
A lot of
North
it.
Road, you're looking at that fence line at Miss Glover's. Steve's is, Jerry's is right there, but behind Jerry's, there's a piece that covers part of the city limits. That section right there that's probably in the city of Steve Carroll's. Because their city limit, the pipeline's running. Yeah, through there. So you got that. Then you got right there on the corner of North and Oak, there's the 10 acres. Yeah, right there, there's 10 acres. And then, of course, right across from the shop on 65, that's 10 acres there. And then Freddie Tyndall's got 7 acres there behind
That in the
Queen's.
city still?
They've been getting their stuff. Centerville.
You know, our city limits only goes to that where.
Yeah, where it's white.
Right.
There's a little, going down Freddie's Road, there's a little cabin there, that's about where it ends.
Yeah, that's where, well, the old pipeline, it's, food pantry.
Yeah.
The food pantry is almost on the city limit side. Line.
Well, we're shooting fireworks, is it gonna be in the city limits?
No. Oh, yeah.
Where
That brings them in. We're not even shooting fireworks in the city limits.
where they actually,
No, it's not the city limit.
so we,
The back
the
part,
municipal
yeah.
cover that, then if it's out of the city
Yeah,
limits.
after you go halfway behind the shop at that food pantry back down there, you're
I was gonna
really
ask,
outside the
but
city limits.
I'm already starting to watch.
It's on city property, but it's off, yeah.
Well, who owns the
Even our city
property on
property
which
is not
the-
all in the city limits.
on which the fireworks will be
I
hosted?
think we do,
We own it.
we do, or the.
We own it.
Yeah.
It's just not in city limits.
We've got 9 acres there, right, don't we? Yeah.
There should still be coverage extended on property the city would own and use, even if it's not in the city limits. That's kind of similar to, Faulkner County Fairgrounds, they're like right on the edge of Conway. And Conway, I don't think that I'm not aware of the fair ever or using fireworks at all, but I may be missing something. But
More comments? We have a motion on the floor still.
Gilbert, how many acres do you have at your house there?
Right at 3.
Okay, so underneath this, you know how y'all move the trailer there for renting, you wouldn't be able to do that without you at least having 6 acres where there could be 3 acres per each one, is that correct?
Without a variance.
Without variance.
Same as mine. I've got 5.
We got 5, so.
there's actually, by the way, I've been leafing through this, there's a great article on page 48 of the City and Town about zoning for predictability. It's a good little article. Just been kind of skimming it.
Zoning
About that.
Page 48.
for predictability.
Unless I hear a second, the motion will fail, lack of a second.
Y'all wanna vote on it?
I truly don't know what to do.
I don't either.
I could go either way on it.
Well, here, I'm just gonna give you my synopsis here. We definitely need, I feel we need to do something. Not so sure it's in the ordinance wise, but we don't need to sit on it forever. I need help trying to find someone to serve on a committee, on a zoning and planning committee. Like I said, I've talked to 10 different people. I've got to have your help. We've got to we need to get a planning and zoning commission set. And then we can sit down and we can talk and we can work out some guidelines for them to start with. But we've got to get some people interested, or we're going to be doing this every meeting. You know, and
I mean, do we have a way, Pam, to let people know that, you know, this has to go through our water board, and when we find out about we're still up in,
right.
we don't
We get
know,
engineered.
but we're waiting on the engineers, and, you know, water can be a big issue, whether you'll be able to get water or not, and just to let the public know, or the people that are planning on selling or subdividing, some way to get that out
Put
there.
it on, put it on Facebook, put it on the website.
And then what happens though if somebody divides this out and all this existing gets divided out into half-acre lots and gets bought up, and then we come back and say, well, I know you spent all this money on this, but I can't give you water.
If they do that, they're going to have to apply for a subdivision.
Well, not if they're just selling the lots off.
It's like any of the other places out in the county, it's buyers beware.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's a good policy for us to have. I don't think it's fair to them, fair to the buyer.
No, it's not,
Yeah, I agree, it's not
but just a
fair.
little bitty
But
place in the
if
big.
I was going to buy some property, I would be investigating, finding out about water, power.
Not all people do that.
You know,
Yeah, you look at all those little lots around Fairfield Bay, and people are getting hosed out of their money all the time because they're buying a little lot that they think's in a neighborhood, except for it's undeveloped land, and the next thing you know, they're having to pay $250 a month property owners association dues.
We sold a bunch of them, people didn't even look at that
Oh, yeah.
when they bought it.
Yeah, Heather refuses to sell any properties around Fairfield Bay anymore because of that. It's not worth
Back in the day, that's what it was. Then people would come there and they'd buy, and some of them never even saw it, bought the land and never done nothing with it.
Yeah, and they're just selling that land over and over again when people don't pay their property owners association dues. But, and that's the reputation they have.
Okay, there's the very first question in this article that Bo said is, the common development question should be, will this require planning commission or city council approval? So, I mean.
But dividing a piece of property off doesn't require our approval
Well, I know, but I mean.
right now. And that's what this does. It puts a Band-Aid on it until we have a planning commission. I think inaction is gonna come back and bite us.
Well, I think there's been a lot of discussion, even here tonight, about setting an acreage on it. I'm not opposed to doing something, but I do not feel, after talking to several people out here in our town that we service, that they want us to restrict it by acreage.
Well, and it shouldn't be long-term, as a long-term solution. It shouldn't be. But, again, that keeps a 10-acre lot from being divided into 50 different lots and putting in who knows what right next to somebody's house that they paid good money for. It keeps we don't have any around here.
But every person I've talked to is definitely against it. But get them to come here.
Yeah, I know. I've practically begged people to come to this meeting tonight. They're not here. So.
And what were their reasons? I mean, just they didn't want to do whatever they wanted to do.
It did condemn half the property in Damascus.
But it doesn't, though.
Huh?
It doesn't affect the properties that
Why
are
not?
already.
Because there's vacant lots up there with nothing on them right now, lots of them.
But they're already.
Now, why do you want?
They're already
Why do you want
parcels.
ordinance for 3 acres?
I don't care if it's 2 acres, 3 acres, 10 acres.
Why?
It doesn't matter to me. It's to preserve
We govern everything
the
anyway.
rural nature of our town. But the lots that are already existing, it does not affect.
I think we'll end up under lawsuit like Petty Jim if we ain't careful over something like this.
This does not affect one lot that exists out there, whether it be have a house on it or it be an empty lot right now. Just if they added something else to it. Right. It'd be one dwelling per lot.
Well, your health department monitors a lot of that on septic systems and everything, so, I mean, it's all covered.
It makes it somebody else's problem and we're reliant on somebody else to do what we need to be doing.
Well, the comments I got back from people, the highest majority of those comments was, I don't want you guys telling me what I can do.
There you go. There you go.
Well, I don't either, but I also don't want somebody else to be able to do whatever they want to with.
I see your point.
Because that affects not only them, but it affects my property values too, and everybody in here.
But just
It
like
affects
me, I'll
everybody out
use
there.
me right here. When Pavat, my house there's 2, 3 little parks, and the guy bought that, and he put that big old metal building right there, which is okay, cause I said, you ain't gonna, he said, I'll keep it clean.
Mm-hmm.
But he could and build anything right there.
Right.
That's outside the city limits.
Yeah, it's outside the city,
So
that's
it
right.
doesn't matter.
Nothing, but if it was in the city limits, it's just an example.
Yeah.
I mean, we think we got control over the stuff around us, but we don't unless we buy it ourselves.
But we do have to approve the water.
Sure,
We do have to approve building
sure,
permit.
there's restrictions right there, yeah.
We do have those legal avenues that we can go through. If they submit to build on it, we can say,
No, or yes, or
or
whatever.
I'll get it to say no
Right.
for a building permit.
We don't have anything to back up a no right now, though. You tell me, no, I can't put something on my
That's it.
property. Why can't I?
Cause you can't get water on part.
Well, if I wanna put a big warehouse, I don't need water on it.
I guess it had, I don't know.
There's lots of caveats to this. Lots.
And it's not perfect by any means, but it's a Band-Aid to get us by. Cause once it's divided, it's always divided.
We're at a standstill, guys. We gotta make some kind of decision here of how we're gonna proceed.
Has the motion failed?
Yes, motion has failed, lack of a second.
I'll make a motion, we adopt the ordinance as written.
What was the motion?
Make a motion, we adopt the ordinance.
Not hearing a second, motion fails.
I just don't.
Okay,
I can see
next
myself.
route. I'm gonna set a date as of our next meeting. We have to have some names submitted for a planning and zoning commission. And I'll work with Bo and the municipal league, drawing up some guidelines for our planning and zoning commission. We'll probably have to have an ordinance to adopt a planning and zoning commission.
I think one step that we can take for certain is I think everybody knows that there's been discussion with Terry Don Robinson up at Worcester.
Yes.
And, Terry Don goes way back in Worcester's government so far that he was chairman of their first planning commission. And, if anybody probably can speak to, the need for it for sure. And they got ahead of their growth that way, in a way. So, yeah, I think it was a positive development for them. And I think that, I think it's unquestionably needed here, but, there's no question that we can also use him and anybody else that we think is a useful resource to help guide us to get from point A to point B on that. But, I have no objection, at least for the next meeting, trying to at least find, an ordinance that can be adopted to create it. And I'll, send that out, y'all can all have a look at it, let me see if I can find one of those ordinances, at least as a starting point, from the legal side of it, and then whatever y'all do, in terms of trying to solicit suggestions and input and volunteers, that's on y'all, but I'll do my part on the, ordinance side of things to see what we need, what can be circulated. It's like we mentioned, I think at one point too, maybe setting up a special committee as an interim. But truthfully, I don't think it's needed, I don't think you set up a committee, I think you just get your committee, your commission, you know, make them, you know, you find people that are willing potentially and ready, or at least want to serve in some capacity, and you get them ready, and then you give them a playbook.
Oh, we're gonna find anybody, because we don't even have a council that's willing to do anything.
Well, that's true too, but I mean, or at least part about the, you know, the volunteer component of it is I understand that's a struggle, you know, and I don't know the answer on how to fix that, but I think it does take some aggression from everybody to make it happen. And they need to understand too that, you know, the longer you leave yourself unguarded in any way, the more likely that a liability issue arises. If you get a commission started and they start making recommendations that are well researched and well informed, and then they make recommendations and then the council goes along with or finds other things that cause them not to go along with that, you at least have sort of a chain of command there, which makes the whole idea of things like variances and conditional use permits a reality. And I know it's like a lot to take on at once for a small town, but you kind of really want to have all that in there. And then you do the thing like we talked about, a variance, you know, if it makes sense. But I do think that the first order of business, at least what it would be from my standpoint, is, you know, get ordinances that allow it to be created and then go from there.
I mean, I know I'm being wishy-washy, but I'm just thinking that, you know, Gilbert made a point about the building coming up by him, and that's, could be considered a con, but then, you know, a month ago, TJ built a house on his land, on their land, and that was not 3 acres. They don't have 3 acres, or, so they couldn't have built on their own property. And
That's where the council has to examine what the intent is and does it diminish from the town? Your case absolutely does not diminish anything.
yeah, I know, but
But
I mean, I don't, if we put 3
Tiny
acres
little
in
Cracker
there,
Jack houses side by side, that absolutely diminishes from the town. We don't have anything in place that keeps that from happening. Outside of being able to say, we can't give you water, but we really don't know if we can or not.
But wouldn't that open us up to some type of legal repercussions if we approved this one but not this one? They could say, well,
Sure,
you
can
approved
say
this
that
one, why
anytime.
didn't you approve mine?
You're
It's
all-
your opinion that it's
Selective
evaluated.
enforcement is always going to be the buzzwords.
yeah, that's good.
Fortunately, in a smaller town, with, you know, with it being less obvious, and with you all being a very good body of people that has always, you know, for the most part, gone along in lockstep on things, I don't think y'all would have a problem deflecting any potential liability. Again, water company's gonna have their say in this, that'll help. And then as far as what the city does, again, I used the word arbitrary earlier, and it wasn't necessarily just about how many acres or how little acres, it's about really anything, you know? And so if somebody comes along and says, well, you did this for them, but you didn't do it for me, then yeah, they're gonna get mad. I mean, so yeah, it's a concern. And I'm not gonna speculate on whether any kind of challenge like that would be successful or not. I'm just saying it's something we have to reckon with.
Yeah,
And it
and I
depends on
think
the
no one
judge,
wants
too.
a trailer houses being, you know, pulled in around your property and everything, but things happen, you know, you might have your family members that might need to pull a mobile home, you know, in your backyard.
I got one, my mother-in-law.
Well, I know, so, but I'm saying, you know, that situations happen and, you know, it's my land, I ought to be able to let my family, you know, and help them out and put them on there.
If she dies, it'll be gone, like my wife told me.
Maybe your doghouse.
Well, that's where you,
Alright.
that's where you sit down and you have a public hearing and maybe you have 5 neighbors that come around and say, I don't want that thing next to me. And it's your job to make sure that those 5 voices get heard and say, yeah, we can't approve
But then I
this.
would say, I don't really care, it's my son and daughter and my grandkids, and they're gonna live on my land, and I'm moving them in, I don't care what you neighbors think. I mean, I'm not saying that because I don't want them,
Right.
I don't want them next to me.
But,
That will happen.
But I'm just saying, there'd be a situation like that where they might say, you know,
They'll tell you, I own that land, I'll put whatever I want to on it, they'll say that.
but I'm just
We'll see
saying
how it
that
works out for you.
situation could come up where they're like,
that's what I heard all week.
you know,
Like I said, the biggest thing I heard was, I don't want you guys telling me what I can do to my property.
I know, and I mean, and I can see that
We
happening.
heard that on the burn permit.
Yes.
Same thing. Can't tell me what to do on my property.
But we as a council, we have to be willing to defend existing properties and existing property values. Because those are our constituents.
Well, I think we all need to make a concentrated effort, try to get this commission people that would serve. I think that's our next step. And I think we can all agree on that we've got to have that in place. And that not only protects our people, our constituents, but it also insulates us a little bit, to be honest with you. It helps us to get an informed opinion from people on the outside, not just this little group.
Yeah.
'Cause
Our
basically
council
that's
is
what
gonna
we
stop
got.
treading water and get out there and actually speak to people though too.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta speak to people. We gotta try to find someone that's interested in serving. And that's not an easy chore. So, guys, put your thinking hats on and your tennis shoes and let's start knocking on doors. We gotta get this thing rolling. And we will do due diligence to have our parts done by our next meeting. And, we'll bring this up again. We'll get an ordinance passed to get it set up. So as soon as we pass that ordinance, let's have our people in place so that we can get rolling.
Is there any way that you or Pam could type up a document and email to us saying what being on the zoning commission would consist of? Just like key ideas, because that's the first thing you're gonna say is, how much of a time commitment is this?
Does it pay anything?
Does it pay anything? What all will I have to do? Are people gonna scrutinize me, you know? Like, if we have just a little, hey, these are some of the things you can expect if you were to do this, and then that, it would just be good to talk, because I also don't wanna get in there and they ask questions and me go,
I don't
know.
Yeah. I
Right?
understand.
If there was, or it may be something that Bo could send in, like,
Talking about Terry Don would probably be the perfect one to.
I talked to him today about all of that.
Yeah.
So, you know, Terry Dunn and I got a good relationship. I'll reach out to him, see what he's got together for their plans on the commission.
Sure.
But it is a serious note. We don't need to just keep kicking it down the road. We've got to do something with it.
and if it didn't have anything to do with existing properties, if it was just the new, like, just the stuff that hadn't sold yet, I'd be more apt to do it. But the problem I have is, like, I look at Gilbert's situation where his mother-in-law needed somewhere to live.
Yep.
And under this, he wouldn't been able.
They couldn't do that.
He couldn't have
I
done
was
so.
gonna tell her, they said, can we put a trailer in your yard? I said, you're my wife and she's my mother, I ain't telling y'all no.
If you go to any other municipality, and that's why people move into the city, is to have their property values protected. If you don't like it, move up in the middle of the mountains where you don't have any neighbors. But that's where you would come to the council and say, hey, I need to put a trailer out here. The council says yes or no. It's the way it is. I mean, we live in town.
But I also don't want that decision put on me, what somebody else can do, because I think it's just opening us up for something legally. Myself.
As a council member, you gotta have the guts to be able to do that, though. And we seem to be lacking in that.
I think see so many lawsuits with this town, I don't even want to say no.
Well, it can happen, anybody can see for anything.
We've had our share, believe me.
That's why we got both. Right, Bo?
I mean, allegedly.
All right, well, we all got our job to do here in the next 3 weeks, okay? So, I'm gonna press on. Any concerns from council members, other than the ones we just discussed? Bank statements reviewed,
Make a motion to accept.
I second
motion made second to accept the, bank statements, all in favor?
it. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.